what your choices have been and what karmic timelines and contracts you have journeyed. The light is calling for the reunification of all aspects of life in this realm now. It is calling for the cleansing of all polarities. It is calling for the rising of all sacred heart centers now. All are being summoned home to the greater light now.
Hi, and welcome to Whole Soul Mastery's Live Well, Live Whole podcast series, where we focus on mind, body, spirit, wellness, fitness, and wholeness, and integrating polarity within so that we can live and be and shine our light and unity consciousness in a bigger way. I'm Marie Mohler, and I'm an author, channel, and a host of the Whole Soul Mastery podcast series. And I'm here today with Flower Diamond, who is a friend. Welcome, Flower. Who is a friend, an amazing poet and writer, a poet contributor to Whole Soul School and Foundation. I'm the co-founder of Whole Soul School and Foundation, a teacher and a seeker in the hero's journey at this time. And I am just so excited to be in this conversation with you, to allow spirit basically to move through us in this organic connection, and to share a little bit more of your journey and your insights with our audience. And so thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Marie. It's always so fun to hang out with you.
It is so fun because we're streaming and surfing the energies together,
Yeah.
and so is everybody at this time. It's the time of the Great Awakening, and it's a powerful time. And I'd like to open us up by asking you to share a little bit about your journey into spiritual awakening or woke, whatever that means for you. But we've all been on a journey, and to be in this place of presence and connecting with the gifts in the way that you do, I'd love to hear a little bit more about you and how you arrived here.
Wow, that's a big question. But I think the best way to answer any question like that is just start where you are.
Yes.
Where am I right now? And I mean am I what am I listening to? What am I thinking about? What's the next step? And just navigating your day, just start where you are and listen. That's why I have this flower behind my ear. Because I'm a poet, but the way I write is I just listen to the words. I just listen and I wait for the next word, and then I wait. How I respond to the waiting is really what I think what I would describe as woke or awakening,
Yes.
is how am I responding to um, waiting for inspiration instead of making something happen, that
Yeah.
can get us into trouble sometimes. I'm just listening and trying to harmonize with whatever's coming in. So that's how I write. And to me, the awakening thing is just what's happening right now. I got to go take a walk. How am I going to prepare for that? How am I going to get home?
Right. And the listening, there's obviously lots of other little energies in that support the listening, but there's a receiving, there's an opening and
Yes.
allowing to receive that that kind of
Yes.
listening. Yeah.
Yes, it's a rhythm. And what I have learned is I kind of have, and I teach writing classes, and what we've come up with, because it's a co-creation with the students, because I think the teacher student thing, which I've learned through the organization I have my classes in, it doesn't work anymore. So these classes are living, and the students and I just happen to facilitate it, work with each other. And so together we've learned there's like the three things is the mundane, the mind, and the muse working together. So we
Wow.
start off with something very mundane like a number, And then we use the mind, which was really the first thing that comes up. Like, what are you doing? What's in the mind right now? And that helps coordinate. That's your coordinates. And then the muse knows where you are. And then the muse comes in and writes the rest of your is the one who's writing. That's who I'm listening to, is the muse.
Wow.
And that is the movement of writing. That's the rhythm. So we're constantly going from the mundane. Like, I have to, let's see, like when you're cooking, the mundane, I got to make dinner.
Right.
How many times have we said, what do you want to eat tonight? That's the mundane. That is like
There it
that's the drum beat behind everything, right?
Right.
And then somebody says lasagna. Okay, so the mind is picking up something, and you go into the kitchen and you don't quite have all the ingredients. Nobody wants to go to the store. The muse comes in and says, "Oh, we can put this, and we can do this, whip it up." And suddenly, bravo, you have this beautiful lasagna to give to everybody.
I have to tell you how synchronistic it is that you're sharing those 3 M's, right? And then also the way you express that is like the recipe, right? When you
It is a recipe.
it is a recipe. And I had that inspiration just a few days, maybe in the last week or so. And I podcasted with somebody that I just posted today, Del Sol Etienne. We just posted a podcast and we were talking about that because we had just gone through that experience. What you just described, my family went through that a couple of weeks ago, where we were tucked in and that question, what do you want for dinner? And we all were so excited because we came to consensus. We wanted soup. That was huge. The consensus was huge. We wanted soup. But then we went in the fridge and realized we have no onions, we have no celery, we have none of the things that you would normally just start sauteing for the soup.
Yeah.
And in that moment, you can say, well, then I guess we're not having soup. Or you can go into the muse and realize that you can find new ingredients, just like what you said. Yeah. That's exactly what we live. That's exactly what just happened.
That's so exciting. I love it.
It is, when lived experience can illustrate the journeys we're on, you know what I mean? When it illustrates the insights that we have, that's where the magic happens. And when you have the eyes to see it, when you can recognize it happening, that's the magic. I mean, that's really just where life elevates to a whole other level. But it is amazing. And all those people in your classes, would those have been people who identified previously as people who were writers, or are they people who might have said, I can't write, I'm not a writer?
That's the people that have shown up for my first classes have not identified themselves as writers. In fact, have seen themselves mostly as one person says that I'm supposed to be chained to a desk to write. And now she's writing the most beautiful poetry inspired, fun, whimsical words, and she feels free to write.
Liberating.
Yeah, it is liberating. And so, the awakening is personal to me. And disclosure, I know people talk about that. It's all personal. We're learning about ourselves, and it also isn't just like I'm in the angels and I'm like the Holy One. No, it's the mundane, the mind, and the muse, and you get the rhythm of like, oh, I'm up here again. Sometimes you need the mundane,
Yes.
And the mind, you got to pay the bills, but this time, I'm going to pay my rent this month, but now I'm writing a poem to my landlord. Every month I just add a poem. So he's got a tenant who's writing a poetry now.
That's amazing.
Or a fun stamp, we're just having fun.
Right. Well, and boy, does humanity need to be reminded of, on some levels, how to do that, how to be fun again, how to live that inner child, how to be present in the moment and let the muse flow through. Because unfortunately, I can't say that it's everybody's experience, but I've talked about this before, but the educational system worldwide, in a way, conditions us away from that presence inside us that is connected with the muse, and we get into very narrow, tight guidelines for the assignments we're going to, the tests we're going to take, the knowledge we have to memorize, or the facts or things we have to, or whatever we're being taught that we have to memorize and prove that we've memorized it. And that really takes us out of that place, that side of our brain that's the creator, doesn't it? That's in that flow, that the more feminine aspects of us, which are in our right brain. And it puts us over in our left brains where there's walls and rules and deadlines. Things are timed and it's different. And when people give themselves permission to take a class like you offer, or just to allow themselves to go and be silly at the beach or go out in nature or talk to a squirrel. I mean, I actually talk to squirrels regularly. I mean, and most people don't, because they don't give themselves permission. I'm connecting with nature and they're communicating with me all the time. And they must look at, I was telling you, Flower, before we got on this call, that I have a white deer who their migratory pattern passes through my yard twice a day, every day, right? And in our human world, we look and say, oh my gosh, a white deer, right? And we think it is extraordinary. It's an extraordinary sight for us. But the deer, I think, have this experience of us when we're awake and we say hi to them. They're like, whoa, we're the white deer to them,
Right.
that stands out and says, wow, one
Wow.
of them is awake, and they like tell all their friends and say, get a load of her, right? And so it goes both ways, like this marveling at this communication. And that comes through that creative spirit, that openness, that allowing. And it's the 3D matrix that would probably condition us into thinking, I'm not a writer. I'm not an artist. I don't have any creative energies inside me. What? We're like divinity. We're here on this planet as creators of the creator. And it's exciting in what you're just, your presence, Flower, is so, it's a gift. It really is a gift because it's open and you invite people to try it on, to just experience, to step into fun, however that wants to show up, to allow the muse to come through, and no judgment. No one's grading their paper. They don't have to go up and defend it in an oral argument. And I think we're so conditioned and used to that. We're so used to whatever we might write down, criticizing it or judging it. Does that happen initially when people start expressing themselves? Does that play out? The judgment?
No, unfailing confidence when you're working with a muse.
Yeah.
When you're working with a muse, nothing can push you in any other direction because without a doubt you've written the right thing.
Yeah.
That's why I got these bunny ears in the back.
Right.
I have lots of things in my house to remind me to keep listening to the muse because you are completely grounded when you're working with the muse. You're saying the right thing at the right time. It resonates and you can't do it wrong because a poem is everything at once and you're just working within that rhythm. Wow. So it's just a rhythm. And when you're talking about going to school and kind of being trapped in a box,
yeah,
you can bring your muse with you.
Yeah. Right. It travels. It travels. Have muse will travel. Yeah.
That's so funny because that's part of the 1, 2, 3. It's the waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right. So you have the mundane, got to go to school. The second, the mind is I have to do this assignment. Right. And you can start flowing with the data you're getting in the classroom because anything, the muse can come and join you to do anything,
right?
Whether it's in the kitchen or doing a legal report,
right?
Because what we found was we're kind of like scientists. we found that even punctuation, when put in the right place, is very powerful. And so, even if the most driest business or technical work that you're doing, you can ask the muse about even some of those little things, and it'll change the frequency of what you're writing.
Right.
So if you have an entire book and you change one comma in that book, it changes the frequency of that book. And this is where you don't have burnout while you're working.
Yeah.
Because now you're flowing. So how would I explain that to somebody who doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about? What do you mean a book has a frequency? Maybe spice. We could go back to the recipes.
Yeah.
It's like if you didn't put the salt in, or you put too much salt, so it changes the entire recipe.
Yeah.
So if you add a little punctuation or a little word, it's going to change. That's the same in a book. It's like you baked a cake. A book is like a cake. I love cake.
Yes.
White sheet cake is my favorite cake from the grocery store, right? That's the best cake in the world. You can write your name in it. It's a poet's dream. Those giant sheet cakes, the white cakes. Just, oh my gosh, it's perfect.
An edible canvas. An
Yes,
edible canvas, right?
it really is. Just give me some piping and frosting and frost that whole thing. So our books, it's like a cake, and you add the salt, take it away, it's going to change the whole thing. So that would be the frequency of the writing. You can just change things with very simple things. It's not about being beautiful and prose and poetic. It's just about working with inspiration that comes from knowing yourself, looking within and listening and going from those 3 steps.
Oh, it's so beautiful. When you said the recipe, I could feel that. I also felt it in, I'm sure there's many metaphors, but I've also felt it as a song. You change one note, you change one note, and the whole composition is different.
Yep.
Yeah.
It really is.
And that's really about people's change and transformation too. You make one different choice, one conscious choice can, put you on an entirely different timeline in your life simply because you made this conscious choice today, not this one, right? And that's how personal growth works. That's how personal transformation works. That's how change happens. I said this to somebody recently and I can't remember, but that story, I think we all have heard it when we were growing up, like a man is walking down the street and he falls into, the hole, right? He falls into the gutter or whatever, and a pothole in the street. And then, and he climbs back out and it's like, and the next day he's walking down the same street and he falls in the hole again. And he's frustrated because the hole didn't move. And how did he fall in the hole again? And it happens several times. The man walking down the street, he falls into the hole. And then one day the man walks around the hole. Like that, he just walks around the pothole and he has a totally different experience. And I think that's us in many ways, is we have this repeat experience out of our own vibrational habits because we're vibrational beings. Of course, a book can have a frequency because everything has a frequency. We live in a energetic living universe. And but so when we're that living vibrational habit and we're walking down those same streets the same way, doing the same things and not making any different choices, of course we're going to fall into the pothole. And but someday we might realize I'm a vibrational being. I can make a different vibrational choice, and consciously I can use my mind. The mundane is walking down the street, right? The mind is, right, falling in the hole and scratching our heads. And the muse is, I can make a different choice. I don't know if that's the best way to use the 3 M's.
Yeah, it's I'll swing to the left and
right? I'll swing to the left or swing to the right, or I can hop over it. I can leap over it. I can do all kinds of things, right? So that is a big part of our journey. And it's amazing when you're teaching that important energy and that understanding. You're awakening that in people through writing, through poetry. It is amazing how many different ways the same lesson or the same understanding, not understanding, but understanding it from the inside out, can come through so many different mediums and so many different ways. But it's a similar message for all of us, is that I think we're all looking to be that creative expression and be untethered, unbridled, unrestricted, out of the box. The woman said, I think you said, chained to the desk, right? We want to be free of that.
Yeah.
Who doesn't
Yeah.
want to be free from any of what that might be? The cubicle, the rent payment, right? And the fact that you are able to use your gifts, and even now gifting poems, right? With your payments, like, there's no end to the gifting and there's no end to the flow. It's infinite. That's the thing. The muse is infinite, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, where there's paper and pen, there's a muse. so, one day I was just sitting, I had at a cafe, and I had written, paid the bill, but there was the bill and a pen, and I just turned it over and wrote a poem on the back of it and walked away. You just just just
Wow.
leave poems, wherever, and inspire, just gifts, and sometimes, it's
Wow.
fun to have the relationship, and you don't always have to be writing it. You just talk to that part of you, and all three of those parts are you.
Exactly.
And sometimes it isn't always in that order. Doesn't It can be the muse, the mind, and the mundane, and maybe it'll be the mundane for a long couple days.
Yeah.
And then the muse, or it'll be a muse for a week, and then the mind, but there's a rhythm, and you just, the 1, 2, 3 can get back into alignment, into harmony, into listening. Sometimes you can hear stuff. Sometimes, as you know, we just translate a feeling into words. Some people are going to have a different experience with it. Maybe see a picture and they describe it. Um, when you start listening, it really opens up some interesting things, and you write. And the cool thing is, you don't need a middleman anymore.
You're it.
You're it. You don't need a business consultant, or even a teacher, unless the muse is saying you need an expert, and then you can go from there. But really, you can do it in that respect too. Like, sometimes you need an expert.
Yes.
And the muse will direct you to the correct person
Yes.
or book or whatever. But we're there's no confusion with the muse.
No. And even if you do seek out the expert, you're seeking out their muse. Like, when you're connecting with that higher aspects of yourself, you're also, it's so expansive. It's why we do these podcasts, right? I'm a creator, you're a creator. When we bring our creative energy together, we manifest this expansive creation, which is our conversations, to the second power, or, to the 10th power, whatever. But it's multiplied, it's amplified. And
Yes.
and
I like that word, amplified.
amplified, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to go back to, you said listening, because
Yes.
that is so much a part of this essence that wants to re-emerge in many of us. And we live in a world now, especially now in these last couple of decades, where our gadgets are with us and on us and talking to us all the time. And so we have external stimulation always, giving its input into us. But there's something that's very different when you go on a walk on a beach and you don't have your iPods in, or you do, you might have music or whatever, but it's really clearing a space in all of that vibrational noise, so that we can hear deeply And there is a receiving that happens when the world gets quiet. It's why a lot of people, I think, meditate, to feel, to connect with that deeper parts of themselves. But when I listen for the muse, I get messages, or I see colors, or a download comes in, or inspiration, or an idea for a project. So, and I think it is amazing. And sometimes we just have to give ourselves permission to create that, like 3 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, to give ourselves an extra minute at the table, like you do now at the cafes, and you gift somebody a poem. It's amazing because it's always coming through you, right?
Yeah.
It is.
It's fun. Yeah, it's a way to live your life, you know. It's I think some people might ask, well, what are you listening to?
Right.
What is the muse? Right? What is it? And so the muse is it's several things. Lots of it's all your chakras aligned, complete alignment. It's the heart, the head, the heart, and the guts alignment. It's the Merkaba alignment. It's all of that, however you want to look at it. It's everything at once, everything connected to source. So your working source is helping you filter all that's everything in the mind, everything in the heart, everything in the gut, everything everywhere. And you're able to just get on the phone like I have here. I have an actual phone. This is my direct line to my muse.
Right.
How you doing? Okay, can you check on that for me? Okay, thank you. So I pick up like a little kid walks around with a fake phone and has conversations.
Yeah.
That is it. Just start the conversation, and they call and they're like, "Hi, how are you? Okay, thank you, bye." Right? That you're just checking in. You're just checking into that part of you that's completely aligned.
Right. And isn't that called the receiver? Is that right? So you're receiving. You are the receiver receiving.
It's that simple.
It is.
Just pick up the phone.
Right.
Hi Muse, how are you? Let's hang out sometime. Okay, bye. There's nothing, it's simple. And then we do that 1, 2, 3, the numbers we love. We have a whole class on numbers because the numbers keep you moving, and you fall in love with the numbers because the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, because you can sit with a blank page, but you put a number on it, it starts to move. And that's how I wrote 2,000 poems about water. I do poems in maths. And I would sit down, I would write maybe like 30 poems a day about water. And I would write, like maybe 1 to 30 every page or something. And then this judgment came in that, that's not spiritual. Numbers aren't spiritual. You should wait for inspiration. Right? You have to there's ring a bell or whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm clearly not doing it right because I'm using numbers. I stopped, and I completely stopped writing. I didn't get back into it for like a month or so after, because I was like, there's the book. I'm waiting for inspiration. I'm going to wait for inspiration. Meanwhile, how many lasagnas are being made and like soup? I'm just making soup. It's completely just off. And then it dawned on me, oh my God, I put my judgment ahead of the numbers are spiritual. Yes. The numbers kept me moving. It kept me focused. It was the beginning. It was the beginning of it. It was the initiation between me and my muse. And now I love numbers. I have this appreciation for the numbers. They were so powerful.
So powerful. I felt them as seeds. Each one seeds.
Beautiful.
Muse. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we are so lucky to have the mundane to assist us.
Yes.
And then the mind, it's almost everybody gets to stay at the dinner table. The mind gets something to say, the heart, the gut, everybody gets to say something, and then the muse comes and filters it all, and then the transmutation, because when you're working with the muse, you're problem solving.
Yes.
So when you're having that really boring class room experience where you're in a box, you can shift stuff in that box and solve the problem of what is going on in our teaching institutions.
Yes.
It'll actually, because you don't really know what's going on. It's everything's so loaded right now with data. So you are moving mountains by just working with parentheses or taking away a word. It's through inspiration, through listening. It's really remarkable. What we don't know what's happening is probably a good thing, and we can just go with the flow and have fun, and then you can see things in your life switch just because you listen to the muse.
Right? Because when you're listening to me, when you're listening to the muse, you're being an essence of creation. You're being a creator. So even if you're in a box in a class and you've got very rigid, homework assignments, or at work and you have a certain deadline and expectations to meet, there's always room, because vibration, it doesn't take up physical space. There's always room for new insights or ideas or a creative way to meet those guidelines that you've been given. And so it is amazing. Yeah, and that there has to be there's that playful inner child that comes out if we allow it to. It's like you said, it's calling us up on the phone, right?
I have all kinds of stuff, and I always talk about that. The muse is always watching you. Always, for years, like your whole life, the muse has been watching you, and it's kind of like this card. Okay, my mom sends me cards. I never knew what to do with them, but now I know. And then it's holding all the treats, right? This is Halloween season, so, and it's just saying, I have everything you need, right? So,
right.
And it's staring you like a raccoon does. It just is like, are you gonna play with me? You gonna call? You gonna call? You gonna call? You gonna call?
Right.
So like, I have that card out by my desk to remind me. It just wants to be acknowledged. So that's where not being chained to the desk is about.
Right.
That you can connect to the muse in the morning, just getting on the phone, in any way you want. Or I use these sand timers. They're not to time. It's just to keep things moving throughout the day. And it's when I turn it over, it's me telling the muse, hi. This is calling the muse. Okay, so I am inviting the muse in constantly throughout the day, all day. I have lots of other stuff, but
isn't that amazing though? It's almost like time for more muse, which is quite a contrast from time for more news. Some people have the news in the background.
Yeah, I got the muse in the back. That's hilarious.
And you're actually turning on the muse with
I'm turning on the muse. Yes, all day. And because that is so then when I go to create, I don't have to warm up. Then we call that putting the kettle. We put the kettle on the burner, the tea kettle. Okay. That's me turning this over. Maybe I do it in the morning. And you just go. You just turn the muse on and go. But then you're going to hear the whistle blow eventually of that tea. And that's inspiration. And you're going to go, ha! An answer's been given to me. The whistle's blown. The whistle blew. Wow. And so when you do sit down to do the formalized creativity or go to work, you're getting in the flow. You're getting answers. The right people are going to call. So there's all different forms of inspiration. Yeah. And so here's a couple examples. So Inspiration can come to you as like you're visiting, you're walking in a wild garden. Inspiration is all around. Inspiration could be that you go into the grocery store and there's a display of flowers that are all wrapped up in numbers. So you go through the sliding doors and somebody has gathered it for you, and here you go, more organized information. um, and another one is I wrote a whole book about inspiration of the flowers. I'll give you a couple of them. And then another one is the florist, which is you in front of the vase doing it yourself. You're creating. And then my favorite is special delivery, which is somebody, it arrives in some way. You get the information, you get a check in the mail, like an opportunity. To me, that's special delivery. So there's different kinds of inspiration that comes through from working with the muse.
It is. And when you have the eyes to see it, when you're just aware of the muse and it's trying to call you up, it's trying to dial in, it's trying to connect with you and get your attention. Like that guy, right? Well, and I'm going to turn you're just like your card. Do you guys see? I have this raccoon right here in the corner, right? And I never even thought about it, but now he's going to be my reminder of muse, right? He's looking right there. Like, you going to play today? Can we play? That's part of what he's asking here, I guess.
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah, right, exactly. And that energy is us seeking to connect with us all the time. And it's like a faucet, though. We have to turn it on. We have to like open that valve up a little bit. And once you start playing with it, it just flows in and you don't have to work at it so much. You just have to allow it. Yeah, but like you said, the timer, the way you have the timer, it's like an invitation. Say, okay, I'm ready to play today, right?
Yeah, it's just like it's like I've explained it as, at first it's like having a teenager.
Yeah.
And they're sitting on the couch watching TV because you've like, not that the parent ignored them, but we have ignored the muse for a long time. We've been doing everything backwards in the hard way, right?
Like more mundane, less muse, right?
Yeah, and not including them, ignoring them, nothing. So in the beginning, it might take a little bit of gentleness to lure them off the couch to work with you, because we've had other lifetimes where we've tried and then we've just abandoned them. So there's a history here of not trusting. So that's why the daily, just keeping it fun and light around. I got my bunny ears, I got, when I start to work, I do this. I have tea parties, little tea party stuff. And so we're just prying the muse off the couch to start. So you don't want to do too much. It's like, the first 2 weeks of my class were very gentle, and I like to use another card. Is just this energy is the bunnies. Yeah. So we're just doing, to me, this energy is going to change the world. This is it. This is more powerful than anything you can, or has more power than anything you can think of. Wow. This is world changer. So this is the energy, and you just start there, and you can start where you are too. So if you're angry, you just start there,
right?
Angry, and then that's the mundane, and then you get another line on that, paying the rent or something,
right?
And then you let the muse kick in and listen word by word and have it. And so
could we do that? Could we do a poem with you, like on the fly? Can we
Sure. And I use little pieces of paper like this.
Uh-huh.
So This is it's a little hard to explain, but I make these little books out of one piece of paper. So you can look on YouTube and look up make a book with one piece of paper, because this goes like this and it makes a little book.
Wow. Oh, that's so great.
So this is the format we use in the class, and as you can see, I have a whole stack of cards.
Wow.
Or not cards, but booklets. You know, you yeah, when you have you get a ream of copy paper, that's 500 books for your library. So basically, the students in my class, we're creating a new library for ourselves. So you can write these books. Let me see. Yeah, I have so many. But you can have put the number at the top, and but let me read this one for you, and then we can do a little book, because this is called it's all backwards there, right?
Oh yeah.
But you can tell I'm just scratching away. I'm not trying to. This is artistic, but it's not formal.
Yes.
This isn't a yeah. This is a casual.
It's free flowing.
It's free flowing. It's not formal, and the muse has said this is not formal to me several times.
Yes. Yes.
It's casual. We're friends. It's one-on-one. This isn't like something higher than you're literally talking to yourself, all aspects of you.
Yeah.
And these books are wonderful because you can sit down and make one of these books in a couple, not 5 minutes, but depending on where you are, you can write a book. I used to write them when I had coffee in the morning, and then I would put them on my windowsill throughout the week and have these little books to hang out. I have one back here that is, this is my whole business class I'm teaching now. And this actually is a temple. We do temple books. And so when it's on a piece of paper, you can visit temples.
Wow.
It's an actual 3-dimensional. So we have temple book classes, and people, we've gone to the temple of beauty, the temple of health, the temple of vitality, the temple of wealth. Did I include that? So you can go to these temples and visit them, like you're Indiana Jones going through all the temples.
It's so great.
So you can really it's keeping you moving. And so this is we were inspired to do little books. And I'll read this one. It says, before you start, I'll open, so before you start, to think, start moving away from the page, go into the heart, and up rises an umbrella, opening up all possibilities. Now pick up a pen and listen to every drop that comes through inspiration.
Oh.
So this brings in the muse, just a little, and then you can have these, you put it in your purse, in your back pocket, have them around your house, put it in a folder at work. So you're talking to the soul of your project that maybe your boss never sees.
Right.
But you now have a relationship with that project you're working on at work that is this relationship now.
Yes.
And it's not an enemy.
Right. Well, there's a connection. You have a relationship. Exactly.
That goes beyond time and space, and that relationship will bring success for you.
Yes. And there's the meaning comes back. Like, think about the example you just gave, somebody at work with a project and it's not feeling it, you can't connect with it, but you do this and there's something in it that's there for you, right? And that muse knows that. And it's like your own. We all know there's those affirmation books you can get from other people, but there's something that's really spectacular when it comes from you. It's your connection with that energy, right? It's your connection with that inspiration. It's not somebody else's inspiration that you're trying to get inspired by necessarily. It's your own. You've got some energy in that connection yourself. Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. And isn't it, it's just, it's like you, that said before you start, but in some ways it's just begin. Like it doesn't have to be this monumental task like you did and you numbered 1 to 30 and then you're like, oh, I can't have numbers. It's interesting how we create all these roadblocks for ourselves. And it could just be as simple as going on a walk on the beach and saying, I'm open. I'm open to receiving right here. And I've got my antennas up, and the bunny ears are like the antennas for listening, right? I mean, they totally helping us listen. And there's something in going back to the educational system or even homeschooling, and I feel like I've even heard some people talking about it with regards to a number of things floating around in our world right now, but there can be also an unlearning process, the unlearning of the judgment and the, all the roadblocks we've learned how to put in between us and the muse, right? It can be that simple, but it is a process. And sometimes you have to just take those first steps to say, I'm willing to be a receiver. I'm willing. I'm here. I'm willing. I'm sitting at my desk. I've just been given this assignment by my boss or, in my job, and I'm not feeling very inspired. And I heard this podcast about these two women talking about the muse, and I don't find my job very amusing right now, right? There's the muse in amusing. But if you can play, if you can just allow that playful essence inside you to come through, say, well, I'm willing to find something inspiring about what this task is that I'm faced with right now. And I'm willing to receive inspiration about it. And you can connect with it on a different level than when it's an assignment that's been doled out to you. If you're in a box, like you said, you can create your way out of the box. The muse is helping you. Any box you're in, you can create your way out of the box. Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
And, I think I'm doing this work because I really live in my head. So I'm very like, but I'm trying. Okay. So,
wow. I wouldn't have said that about you because the you I know is the muse. When you
I have high expectations or something, but I've been trying to have like a website. I'm lucky that the people that host my classes, 12 stars publishing.com, I do not have a website. So I am using these booklets to get me to have my own platform because by the grace of God, you guys have been supporting me by publishing my poems for several years. I still don't have a website. 12 Stars Publishing, they asked me if I would teach classes on writing. I'm like, oh my God, I need to have a website. They're like, no, you don't. Just I'm like, okay, so even these ideas of that we think we need something to do stuff.
Right.
But I know I have to have this website thing because I have talked to my business, and the muse is like, that's a part of it. So you have to do this like about page. And so I wrote a poem about the about page, which I don't have with me right here, but what it told me was the about page was like a big balloon that rises above the crowd so people can find you.
Wow.
So now when I'm writing this stuff, I realize, oh, this is just a balloon above the crowd. I don't have to be so uptight about it.
No, it doesn't have to be so formal because I think the formality of it all can be constricting. Yeah, it can shut us down. It can literally shut us down.
So the cool thing is I'm actually using this process to help myself. First, I'm the guinea pig. And it is helping me, and it builds an appreciation for even the mundane.
Yeah.
Because as humans, we really like extremes.
Yeah.
And this is really how you can get to this is in between those extremes. Right? And you can get there pretty quickly with the muse.
It's a beautiful bridge. You know, we don't have to be so polarized inside ourselves. The muse helps, you know, form the bridge between the mind and the mundane. It's like it comes in and really assists us. And we have incredible ways with our minds sometimes to make, what they say, a mountain out of a molehill. But you know, we can make these things be these huge obstacles or blocks or Herculean tasks, when it's really sometimes just saying, yes, yes, I will listen, right?
Right. And it's like this, like, hi, hello. It starts with hello, right? It's just
Right.
hi, okay, thank you, bye. Just
It's true. It's true. And my experience with channeling is very similar to that. It was just saying yes. It was saying hello. It was
yeah.
saying hello to the connection, and making time for it every day. Like you have your little timer shakers. I made a little appointment with spirit for 5 minutes a day when I first started. And I just, you know, it wasn't even always exactly the same time, but my appointment was with 5 minutes a day. That was what my appointment. And when I was starting a beginning channel, I had really young children then. And I thought, how am I going to find another 5 minutes? I've already maxed out the whole 24 hours. But I found it. You do find it. When you say yes, you find it, and it finds you. And then spirit started showing up even before. Like I'd hear them in the morning before it was our 5 minutes. Like I just start, it's like the muse will do that. It'll start finding you even before you have your time on the beach that afternoon.
Yeah, the whistle is blowing. You
The
can hear the kettle whistle. Yeah.
it is blowing.
So it's okay if you don't hear it at first. You're
Yeah.
just boiling the water. The water, you got it started.
It's so fantastic. It is. Yeah.
It really is. It's profound. It's really remarkable.
It is, because in what we're talking about, why we're smiling, right, versus crying or some other emotion, is that it's life force. It makes you smile. It is life force. It's exciting. It's an adventure. When you start to what your experience with the little books, I love it because it's like an adventure in every book. You don't know. You're curious. What's going to come through today? Who am I going to connect with? What colors are going to show up? What parcels of energy? And it's a discovery. It's at every moment's, you know, journey into discovering. And we as souls create that. So as much as we crave kind of the tension of duality and all the other things that sometimes distract us in this world too, we also crave creativity. We crave that flow. um, and it is fun. It's part of the hero's journey. You know, we're not always just like climbing up the mountain and struggling and straining. We can actually like stop and have a picnic on the way up, right? Yeah, and listen.
And get the easier way. I just in the business, I had a writer's class and doing a business class now. Wow. And if you listen to your business, it'll take you straight to success. If you don't listen to your business, you go through these mazes that take you into confusion and nothingness, or you can go through another maze that might get you to success, but the long way. The muse goes straight up.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other way goes off the map. And the other way, it's just but it's my way, like I'm gonna do it my way. This is how we do it. That's like power over control program.
Yes.
Listen to the muse, no matter how silly it might be, or you feel it's counterproductive, it is giving you the straight line. And the other cool thing is that the muse will tell you things that if someone else told you, you would not listen to them. But because you're listening to yourself, you are gonna it's gonna tell you stuff that you maybe don't, may be a bitter pill, but you're gonna go, aha, got it. Okay.
Right?
Like mine told me I needed to spend more time meditating with the business
Wow.
in a poetic terms. But if somebody else told me that, I'd be like, whatever.
Right? Because it's reaching you from inside you, and it's
Yeah.
you, and there is something you can you recognize that voice.
And I think like for people like you and me that are just wired 24/7, with we're hearing, listening, it's a lot. It's like, I don't have to meditate. I'm already doing, like there's a little bit of arrogance, but to settle down and listen, it's almost, for me, it's too much information. So this is a way to where you don't need a guru. You're your own guru, your own business consultant, your own doctor, you know and the muse will tell you if you have to go to a doctor or if you can do it yourself, if you just sit with that, you're just talking to yourself. um if you're if you have fears, and we had one person in the class didn't think she could talk to her business. She's like, this is just like, no. And in like 10 minutes wrote a whole book. From the cool thing about these is you can do from beginning to end. You walk away from the class with a book.
Wow.
And people know when they're done.
You do,
right? You just know
the
when you're
download
done.
is complete. Yeah.
So it's working with the muse. But I mean, there's other, you can, now that you can find another way to work with the muse. But it's profound. But yeah, if you want to do a book or write something with the muse, we can do that. Thank you, Marie. So if you get a piece of paper, we will we're gonna make a little mini book. So take it and just fold it in half one way. And I forgot the most important part of this is that this piece of paper is love. This is you. So you are love. And your story is added to this. But you are built from love, and every story is built from love. So that's the beautiful thing about this paper. This is you. And this is really the only thing you have to learn in this whole journey with the muse. As this is love. Okay? And your story is built from love. So we're gonna take this love, and now I'm talking to the muse, not you anymore.
Yes.
So, thank you. So this paper reminded me that it's love. So we're gonna fold it in half one way. This is called the hamburger fold in kindergarten world. And then we're gonna fold it again.
Okay.
So now you just have a little mini book. Just a small book.
Yes.
All right, so hold this book. This is your temple. And then just sit back and listen. This is story time. So this is your temple. A door, 4 rooms. Just hold it. It will guide you. Let's explore. The front shall open to the rooms and all impressions that so desire to unfold to you. Each room shall stir in the heart a whisper, a song, a picture to draw our pen across. Just hold it. This is your temple. Stay here always, listening to your soul to sing. So what did I just do there? That was me putting the kettle on the fire. Well, this is the water boiling. And so let's just bring in our muse. Okay, so now you have your book, and if you open it up, it's like a door. You have a cover, and you could open it up, and there's the inside of your temple. So on the front, hold it, and maybe you have a title that's coming up in your mind, something that's going on. You know, because what is a temple? Traditionally, a temple is a building devoted to something very important, something people can't even see. A temple becomes a place of seeing which you can't see. The architecture begins to take on the personality of which you can't see. And something becomes clear and clearer, that in the quiet of the temple, you can begin to experience the soul of that something. That something is your story, the soul of your story. So this is a sacred place where you go to listen to your story, to see it, get guidance, inspiration, solve problems, go on adventures, and more. So we have this beautiful temple door. We have a simple temple we're going to work with today. And so is there a title that might come up for you? What is the shape of your temple? And is there a title about the muse that comes up? Maybe we'll visit the temple of the muse today. Of your muse. So you can write that might be the mundane, the temple of the muse. So I'm going to write the temple of the muse on mine. And you might come up with an additional title to it afterwards, like I always do. Did you sign your name to it?
No.
The muse loves it when you sign your name to your creations. It's a way of telling your muse, I see you. I love you.
Wow.
This is your coordinates. This is telling your muse, I'm here, you're here right now. Of all the billions of coordinates of data that we are through time and space, from the beginning of creation to the present, here I am right here with you. Let's start here.
Wow. You're in the present moment with yourself, with your muse, with all that you've ever been.
Yeah, just by saying hi.
Just by saying hi.
Just by picking up the phone.
I love that.
Yeah, so beautiful. So something I use a lot is I'm here, you're here as a tool. So when you're writing and nothing's coming, just say I'm here, you're here. And sometimes some of these books sit on the table and I walk around them like a cat does to a toy sometimes. But you know, when the whistle blows, you'll get inspiration. Okay, so beautiful. So let's open the temple to your story now. So we can open the door to our temple. We're just opening up. And you can write the number. We're going to do a number. You could have 2 rooms on this fold or just one, up to you.
Okay.
So we can do write the number 1 at the top, or 2. You can even do 3. The back could be a room too, if you want to.
Okay.
Then after that, while you're in your temple, write down the first words that come up. What room are you in? Are you in a room? Are you in a garden? Are you outside of the temple, inside? And then you could, if you have another room, you could do the same thing just at the top of the page. Yeah, just go to a room where you feel you want to start. Hear, feel, or see it. Write down your experience. And that's it. So then after you get the number, the mundane, to the room name, then you go into 3, which is just listening to what the muse wants to share with you about it. So have fun with it. So I'm going to keep talking to the muse and you can write. So there is no time limit. When you are done with one room, go to the next. If you feel stuck, drink some water. Take a breath. Stay with it. Translate that feeling stuck moment. Write it down. It's important. It's part of the story. So it's been a long time since you may have listened to your muse. You have to just be with that relationship exactly the way it is. Zero expectations. If you really get stuck, just say to it, I love you exactly the way you are. I have zero expectations. I'm just happy to be here with you. Keep breathing and listening. Breathing's a wonderful way to connect to the muse. And listening to the muse is a difference between thinking about breathing and actually breathing. There's definitely a difference. So just breathe. That opens up the relationship. You might get anxious, uncomfortable, bored. It's just a story working its way through you. Just stay with it. It will unfold. Keep your pen on paper if you need to until the next word comes. Don't give up on the muse. It wants to be with you. Take all the time you need. Now you have created something you couldn't see into something you can see, hold, and cherish. Beautiful. So a temple can be a book, a chapter, a paragraph. It can be a sentence. It can be a character description. It can even be a problem. The temple is the heart of your writing and can assist you with any part of your project. As you keep visiting the temple books, you will understand the power they bring to your story and life. Ring your own bell to inspiration. Invite the muse to your projects. Create a personal library to keep you in the heart of your story.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. And I don't even know. I'm not feeling time, but I feel like I journeyed to lots of places in probably a matter of minutes, right?
No way. That's so cool.
Yeah, I had a whole journey. You want me to share?
Yeah.
So I stayed with the title of the Temple of the Muse.
Okay.
That you had said. I felt that energy.
Yes.
And then I had a room 1, 2, and I even had a third room, but it was kind of bringing it all together.
Yeah.
So my first room was saltwater swimming pool.
Yes.
Yeah, right. It was kind of an indoor pool. I felt it, an indoor saltwater swimming pool. And my second room was a vegetable garden. Yes. And my third room was a sacred space with a fireplace in it.
Oh, nice.
So my first room, I don't know. I was just right. We were just streaming what we were feeling, really,
yeah,
right? In the first,
yep.
So I went back, and I guess it's a little like a poem. I said, "Free, flowful, divine, feminine, the essence of me flowing here now."
Wow.
I was in that. I was free, flowing, floating, and very conscious in my presence there. And then I hopped over to the vegetable garden, which I felt abundant, fertile, sun-filled, happy, seeds growing, bursting with life.
Beautiful.
My vegetable garden sacred space. And then I had a sacred space. I was in a room with a beautiful fireplace, and I feel candles lit. I didn't write that, but I felt that. And I wrote what I really felt when I had visited these rooms, and I was in this space now, channeling grace, rivers of truth, knowingness through time, light rising, bursting and shining forth, an eternal candle expressing the divine.
Beautiful. And you did it just like that.
You were amazing because you opened the doors. You your words and your energy is so inviting. It's so beautiful. You opened up, like if we open these rooms up this way,
Yeah.
which you facilitated,
You know,
right?
just open that book.
You open the vibrational book for me and for any of our
Mm.
listeners to just step inside. And you're right, seeding it with love, that's us. First
Yeah.
step, right?
Profound. Yeah.
It was
Thank you. Thank
beautiful.
you.
Thank you. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And for any of our listeners, experiencing this, you can go back, you can play, that segment where Flower's talking about that anytime you want those reminders, or just to hear her voice facilitating that journey inside you. And also, Flower, so I know you've mentioned you don't have your website. Where is the best way for people to find you, reach you, connect with you?
Um, you can go to 12 Stars Publishing,
Okay.
and that's STARS, 12starspublishing.com. And that is a teachers collective of mystics and seers and also other people. It's actually a place for anyone to go to that has something they would like to teach from all the realms. It's starting off with people like me, but looking for maybe elders who have something to share and want to teach one course. It can even be like that, just sharing wisdom. It's a place to share wisdom. So yeah, the 12starspublishing.com is a beautiful place that was started by Elizabeth Wood, who is a seer scientist. And she has just created this platform, and I get to be a part of the very beginning of it, where people can come to my class and learn how they could also create their own class to teach through this platform as well. So they've been so gracious to include me, as I'm just like the fool with the stick in the the bag across my shoulder as I tramps around. They've given me a little temple, a teaching temple to visit, just like
Oh,
you
it's beautiful.
have.
It's
Also,
beautiful.
foundation.
You know, and I'm so grateful to people like Elizabeth Wood who create these spaces, right? Who create
Yeah,
these portals that we can step into, the teachers and the students. And sometimes that flips around, right? Sometimes the
yeah,
students, learn from other teachers,
yeah,
and that is the new way, this really beautiful open sharing, reminding each other of who we really are, and these tools to walk with us in the journey. um
yeah,
it's beautiful. It's
yeah,
extraordinary. Well, thank you. I feel like I have had just well, it was a beautiful conversation before, and then that journey, I just already feel I'm still in the swimming pool. I think I'm still in the
yes,
swimming pool that, like,
yes,
now toweled off, and I'm by the fire, and I'm taking all those beautiful vibrational gems with me. They're
yeah.
still in the muse inside me, traveling with me,
And it's yours. It has nothing to do with me.
right?
It's you 100%. Now you're connected. You don't, it was all you that did this. I might have I might represent the muse in some way. But now you can get that experience anytime you want for yourself.
It is. It's that direct experience. It's
It's the
that no.
direct experience. Yeah. And it's so cool that it is, like you said, the candle, like and you could teach, it's teachable, you could teach it to the next person. Maybe, I don't know, could that work? It would be cool if it could.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so,
it's
right?
teachable. 1 2 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we let the teaching flow, we send the teaching down the river, you know like those leaves, they go and they propagate. The wildflowers love the edges of the stream.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. Right? Because
And the seeds keep going down the stream, and like if your neighbor plants something, sometimes that comes into your yard.
well, yes, exactly. Exactly. Right?
So
Well,
if
creation is
yeah,
always seeding itself towards expansion. Always. Always.
Yeah, I feel like what you guys do is that stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
if I let go of the teaching, then it can go farther than it can with me, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
uh
It's a
yeah,
non
it's
the creation without attachment, right? It's the beauty
yeah.
of creation. It is.
Yeah, and because and what I'm kind of getting now, and people get to experience two mystics like working something out here, is that because we're always checking if it's correct. Because mystics, seers, psychics, they can get turned wayward and stuff. So we're like, I'm trying to feel what is the truth. So I think because you and I both transcribe information, there's going to be different ways of transcribing the muses information.
Right.
So this is one way,
Right.
and it can turn into whatever way it wants to. Don't let me get in its way. Get out of the muse's way, because I just feel a big expansion from that. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
gotta put my feet on the ground now.
I know, right?
We're getting too high here.
Hold the crystal, right?
Oh,
Exactly.
the crystal, I gotta like get on the phone. Hey Muse, I need to come back to earth. Okay, thank you very much. Bye, I love you. Let's order a pizza. Okay, thanks.
Oh, it's so perfect how it comes through us, though. And it does invite us to play, and all this beautiful insight and inspiration comes through, and we laugh and we giggle, and we might have all sorts of emotions come through because it brings up all these things that want to get expressed. And art and writing specifically for the two of us, but for others, it can be through this. It can be, you can do colors, tell a color story.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of ways to share whatever this muse is that's coming through us. And
yeah.
So I want to thank you, Flower, for joining me in this amazing, really conversation, but really a journey today into the muse.
Thank you, Marie. It's so much fun to talk with you. It's just like coming home.
It is like coming home, and we'll have to do it again because
Yes.
it's just a little couple first steps, but there's a bigger dance we're gonna re-engage all the time. So
yes, yeah.
And I don't get enough opportunities, so I'll say it here. Thank you for the poems that you write each month for Whole Soul School and Foundation. We post those on social media. I need to get them more on Twitter, but they're definitely at Facebook and on Instagram. And so for at least a couple of years now, you've walked with us in the journey with Whole Soul School and Foundation, seeding these inspirations. And she literally just paints the words with her pen that come through the muse and touch lives. And those messages of the muse travel. They travel and they touch the hearts of people all over the world. And we're so grateful for that. It's just a gem. It's just a gift to all of us. So thank you for that.
Thank you. It's how I start my month every month with you guys. So it's like, I'm like, okay, that's the beginning of the month, and I write about 20 poems for you guys a month, and you pick a couple. So it's a big thing for me because I really dive into the concepts that you guys are working with, and it's wonderful for me. I get a lot of benefit off of it, so thank you.
Isn't it? It's a reciprocal blessing. It blesses us and everyone, and that is the essence. That conversation for another day, but that is the essence of the new earth, is that everything, a blessing for me is a blessing for you, is a blessing for everybody down the river. It's a blessing for all of us. And I get the privilege of receiving those poems from you, Flower, and then
co-creating with you, because
co-creating.
Marie will send me some texts, and then I take words from your texts, and that's what I start with. That the mundane, not that your texts are mundane.
No, I get it.
Yeah, so I start. That's how I write. I do the same process with Marie with the poems. She writes me some stuff, even if it's personal or about this, and I'll just take those first words that you see in those poems are based off of our conversation. Then I bring that to the muse, and that's how all those come through.
They just, and they flower through you, flower, really.
Yeah, it's fun. It's great. It's just really a wonderful way to ground in the every month.
It is.
Thank you.
So, and for me too, to be honest, because that, whatever that conversation is for Whole Soul School and Foundation, usually a theme that we were working with, and our podcast has to do with that theme, and our posts, and so it's amazing how we can add our light of the muse in so many ways and touch so many lives, and have that meaning, that sense of the meaning of our presence and who we are and what we bring through. So I'm so grateful. So I want to thank everybody listening to us and joining us in this conversation and visiting with us at Whole Soul Mastery on YouTube. I invite people to come and subscribe there. We're growing that channel. I'm also sharing these podcasts at Color the Magic on YouTube as well, to reach an even bigger audience, because we want these seeds to scatter. We want these seeds to grow this more beautiful garden that we're all templating now, and all the conversations we're having, these are seed starters, but vibrational templators. And I'm so grateful. So thank you everyone joining us today. And until next time, blessings. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. Woohoo! The music.